So it takes, more than a year for this transition to happen. But I think you can really say that Warhol.
Hello, Dave. Allie, can you hear me? Hello? Allie?
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Allie.
There. Oh, my word, it's working. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I did something right. Probably the last thing for today. So we have a quorum, I think we do.
Do you want me to start recording?
We have a quorum, right?
We do.
Let's just start recording.
Because that's Mike I see, right? Mr. Biddle?
Well, good morning, Miss Ally.
Okay, you are here. Okay. It's hard to tell, you're tiny. Okay, so yeah, we do have 3. We did have Craig, but he went away. But that's okay. We're good.
Okay. Brian said he's going to join a little late.
Okay.
Greg was trying to get on and he, something's going on with his computer, so we'll go from there.
Okay. Yeah, he's still trying. I'm still waiting for YouTube anyway, so.
I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Eagle eyes.
Giant chicken wings on your shoulder.
Okay, I guess we're ready to start. I'd like to call the meeting to order.
My YouTube is, oh, okay, hold on. I guess it's just very slow. It's slowly launching.
Got kicked off. Not connecting to YouTube or?
Working on it.
I don't know. We got kicked off. Said he's having connectivity problems.
It says it's preparing. There is a progress bar, but it's going very, very slowly.
All right, wait for YouTube. Well, we can always post our Zoom later.
I was just gonna say it is recording on what do you call it? The Zoom account. This bar isn't going anywhere, so I can just upload it later. So attendance, yes?
Attendance, please.
Okay, Craig Leggett.
Yes.
Did he not make it? I see his chair. Okay, Michael Biddle.
Yes.
Okay, Mike Wild
Yes.
and Dave O'Brien. Dave?
Mr. King, I'm here.
Okay, Brian is trying.
Brian's trying. Okay.
Okay, I got him. Brian, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay. And Craig is here. Okay, we're good.
So first order of business, potential project updates, Nolan Propane is going to, or Nolan Propane, yes, is going to the planning board on May 19th. Hope to get there to get that done. We did get, we're still working with the rendering plant property out there. Other than that, that's about all we have going on. I think the most important thing that's going to affect a lot of things is the delineation update. And if we could turn this over to Tom and Bob, I would appreciate an update on it, where we're at and what we're doing. And Carol also, she's involved in it too.
Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, admittedly, I don't know if all the park committee meetings have seen the mapping that has been updated. Northeast Environmental, or North Country Environmental has completed the updated wetland delineation for the entire property. And we have actually merged their new delineation with the old delineation that was completed, in the late 90s, early 2000s by Deb Roberts. Now that we have this map, it is currently being reviewed by North Country. I would expect they would have their review completed here shortly, and then this can be released to the Army Corps of Engineers for their review. And in conjunction with that, Dave, I actually just shared an email with you and a few others that gives us the current property listing, or the current ownership of all the properties within the park. And not only do we have the IDA ownership, but we have 7 other property owners that we will have to get online for a site visit.
Okay. I guess on the site visit, we have that application form you're looking at. I'm curious if we pre-filled that, it would make it easier if you get them to sign off on it.
Correct. I have much of that filled out right now. It's a matter of the IDA, in conversation with Steve at North Country, for the IDA, because there's 20 lots approximately that's currently owned by the IDA, is we fill out one single application and then give them a cover sheet with a list of lots. And then we will have individual applications for each of the lot owners. Each of the current lot owners of lots that have been previously sold.
And that's for the Army Corps to get onto those lots, because NCES has already covered those lots, correct?
NCES is not specifically delineated current wetlands on the lots that have been previously sold. We do have some delineation in those areas, but much of the wetlands that on the lots that have been sold have been previously filled in accordance with prior permitting.
Mm-hmm.
So it is part of the ongoing negotiations with the Army Corps of Engineers. They still wish to have access to those lots when they come out and do a site visit for verification purposes. And they've told us that unless we have the sign off, they're not allowed to go on those individual properties. And that would make their site visit in essence incomplete. And they told us that they would have to do studies by other means to assess current wetland status on those previously sold lots. So the smoothest path forward is hopefully we can garner approval from the prior owner or the current owners to make this move forward.
Mm-hmm. That should be simple enough, right?
I'd like to think so.
Depends if they haven't disturbed the wetlands they weren't supposed to disturb, then they probably sign right off. If they've done something, it might be a different story.
Correct.
Okay. Delineation map, do we have any idea when Steve's gonna sign off on that?
He acknowledged the receipt of it yesterday and said he would get back to us shortly. I planned on reaching out to him today to try to get a timeline, because I know we're eagerly trying to get this information back in John Connell's hands at the Corps of Engineers.
The other thing was Kara's working on the ACS, on the resolution language, the deed restriction language for the part that Mr. Connell wants to make sure we have the right language. We think we have the right language, but Kara?
Well, I sent a draft of that yesterday. There's two pieces that they said that they didn't want us to modify that too much. So I deleted the clause that they said was okay to delete. But it requires a reference to the restricted property, and the language that is indicated there is that the restricted property, the wetlands need to be separately described, not the lot. So I've referred to all the lots based on a map reference, but it says the restricted property being X number of acres described as follows. I don't know that, and my question is twofold. I don't know that those descriptions have been specifically prepared. And two, does the delineation map then modify what those descriptions are if we're privy?
Okay. Thank you, Kara.
So, you think we can get forward and get the delineation map and the verbiage down to John and at least our permission slip to him this week?
I would think that's reasonable.
I know he's showing a little bit of impatience with the progress, so. John, want to get this done, and we want to get it done because we have some stake in some of this stuff. Any other comments on the new delineation map? Has that made major changes to the existing wetlands or the wetlands that were supposed to be protected?
The biggest differences that we're finding really are affecting lots 34, 33, 32, a little bit on 31, and then down to 28 and 29. The rest of the lots, the wetlands have very similar configurations and not a great deal of increase in size, but it's those lots that I mentioned that have the greatest amount of impact. And those are the areas right along the larger constructed wetland property.
Refresh everybody where those lots are, Bob.
Well, starting it out on Casey Road as you go in Ferguson Lane, you're starting behind Roselle's, and it's those lots that extend around the northeast side of Ferguson Lane, basically up to the end where the current end of Ferguson Lane is presently.
So do we need to have the non-IDA property owners execute this also separately? And that's how I've set it up. They didn't seem to indicate either way which they had a preference.
The Corps of Engineers looks at this property as if it was under the single ownership of the IDA back in 1998. So they're looking at the original parcel in its entirety that is inclusive of the other current property owners.
I understand that, but from a legal perspective, the IDA cannot sign on for those property owners that are no longer owned by the IDA. We could sign that, but it would have zero legal impact. Those property owners have to.
Yes, we need sign off from those current owners to facilitate this, or they have to go through this other forensic analysis without that access. And admittedly, it's I don't understand completely what that entails. That's a better question for Stephen, that we might be able to get a determination on what that actually is.
Dave? Dave left us. Hey, I just want to know, how long before we're back doing this again? Because this looks like it's an ongoing thing and it doesn't ever go away. Are we doing this every 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Because it seems like we maybe shouldn't have been here already. I don't know. Can anyone answer that?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, we lost our connection. So I'm back on my iPad, so please forgive us. It's trying to reconnect, but for some reason it's lost internet. So Bob, we didn't hear much of what you said before, so if you could you repeat what you were talking about?
Back to what the impacted lots were? Is that where
Yes.
we
The
lost?
last conversation we heard was Kara asked if we, about signing on lots that we don't own.
She is correct that I believe in order to best facilitate the site visit and obtain the jurisdictional determination from the Army Corps of Engineers is we need to have all of the current lot owners sign off on this site visit.
Yes.
And if they don't, I still believe we can have a site visit. They're just, the staff from Army Corps of Engineers just would not go on those adjacent lot or on those lots not currently owned by the IDA.
Okay. Brian, you had your hand up?
Yeah, so my question is, where do we stand going forward? We say we get all this done. Is this an ongoing every year thing? Is it a 5-year thing, a 10-year thing, or is it all done? I can't imagine it's all done the way it's changed.
Wetland delineations are effective for a 5-year period. And after that 5-year period, the Corps of Engineers would ask it to be done over again, should not all the lots be developed at that point. Now, Tom, do you have any
So if they
other
are-
perspective on that?
I do not. I think
If
Brian's
we're
question.
done, then does that mean,
Go ahead, Brian.
yeah, go ahead, Tom.
I was gonna say, I think your question is very appropriate and very germane, that we want to make sure we know what our responsibilities are going forward once we go through this now. It's a little unclear, but I don't think John's made it clear in my mind.
So it's a determination we'll have to get from them. And a clarification. Okay?
Yep.
Anything else, Kara?
I don't have anything else except for if we're gonna provide them with the sample or the proposal I sent yesterday, then I don't have the information completed about the restricted property. So I think I would need that from Tom and Bob. Or I don't know if you want to leave it blank for now and have them review that first. Or if you want me to do the other agreements for the non-IDA owners and just send them all, I think it'll be 7 altogether.
You're talking for the site visit, the one sheet, or are you referring to the deed restrictions?
No, I'm talking about the deed restriction document that I'm working on.
As far as draft language review, I'm not sure it would be inappropriate that we share with them what would be done for the IDA lots. And say, if you sign off on this draft language, it's the plan to have the other lot owners sign off as well on that language. Because right now, we're only sending it in for a draft review.
Okay.
Okay. But I guess I know I just sent it yesterday, but when you have a chance, if you can take a look at it and see if you can take a look at that part about the restricted property and how we want to address that. I don't know if it says a meets and bounds description. I don't know if we reference a map or reference. And then my other subsequent question is, I don't know if this new delineation map changes what's shown as wetlands on the existing filed map from 2007.
Okay, we can take a look at that. Kara, I'm just scrolling through my email right now. I did not see that come through, so if you could resend that, that'd be appreciated.
Okay, sure.
Okay,
Will there be follow-up with the 7 lots that received the permission slip to make sure that they get it signed and back to us? And then-
yes, if we have them, I may just go over there one day and see if I can get them all signed.
Okay,
You get them, to me, I'll go over there and see if I can get them signed.
I'll go with you if you want.
Okay,
Okay.
Well,
okay, good. Anything else on delineation? I got the new map. I'll send it out as soon as I get reviewed by Steve so that the board can see it. Okay. Anything else for Tom or Bob? And thank you. We want to wrap this up as quickly as possible.
Thank you all. Have a good day and good week.
Yeah, thank you. Another note on the potential project updates, they are still working on the assessed value assessments for those properties, appraisals for those properties. I had to get them some information that Tom and Bob are going to help us with in getting them the usable acreage. So we'll get that for approval. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the last executive park meeting.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Biddle. Do I have a second? Mr. Wild? Any omissions, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
So old business. Ally, A is yours. Ally?
Yes, I'm looking at the agenda. Oh,
Website.
yes, it has been questioned by one of the members that quite a while ago, it was asked of the board members to send a photo of themselves that I could put on the website next to your name. And I received no photos from anyone. So just one more time, I'd like to readdress this. If that's something that you guys decided that you didn't want to do, I will drop it. But it's something that you guys still think is a good idea, but you forgot to send a photo, I'm just readdressing it just one last time, if that's something that you guys wanted to do.
Does that be a current photo or one from me back in the 60s?
Current.
What, when you were in your 40s?
Yes. Okay, I don't have a problem with it. What about everyone else?
Don't have a problem. What I
Just a
find
zoom.
is that it's hard to find a photo. So,
I'm sending one right now.
Okay.
With your
Tell her.
cell phone.
Tell her, please.
Mike Bitta sending one right now, so
Okay,
go from there. Okay,
so this is something that you guys want to do? Because
Yeah.
I don't want like a sprinkle of photos. It's either like kind of all or nothing, just to make it look more uniform, I guess. So, all right, I will start bugging everyone.
please
listen,
send
if
them.
Mi- Yeah, if Michael is sending one in, just use his face for all of us.
We'll scare everybody away.
Or you could use, or
Okay,
you could use Dave's background. We could use the bird.
this is a picture I'm sending you.
It's whatever you guys want. I will use whatever you send me.
I wouldn't say that, Ally. That's way too broad. Okay, enough of that. PD update, they're in the process of submitting the application to get the permission, get the contracts for the site. We needed to reschedule a public hearing because they couldn't make it that day. They can't have a public hearing without them. So go from there. Next item is not on your agenda. Executive Director, the ad went out yesterday. It's being placed in Indeed in the Post-Star. See what we get. In terms of applicants. Next part is new business. It is, I had a meeting with EDC, Jim Siplon and John Wheatley and Amy Potter yesterday from EDC. They want to talk about how we would sync use of our executive director when we hire one with them. I went through explanation. Our goal is to work with organizations, with ARCC, EDC, LDC, everyone else, and really try and get out there and meet organizations, meet people, introduce ourselves, understand what's going on. A couple of things that I guess I'm being asked potentially to join is they're putting together what's called a housing group. And the housing group is going to work on the demand for housing in the area. And where it is, they seem to be finding issues with lack of housing and lack of appropriate housing for people who want to move here and start businesses. They also have a project group that they work with a number of different companies or prospects looking to come to this area. He's going to ask me to sit on those, and the executive director, when they join, sit on that. So we can help introduce our services and what we can do to help people with. So that's coming up. I've been looking at our uniform tax abatement policy. I think we should revisit parts of that. I think there are some things that are misunderstood or misstated in there. And I guess I'm going to ask Ally or ask Kara if in fact that, for example, it says we'll follow 45B, we can do a 45B. Well, that's a little bit ambiguous because we're actually using the structure 45B, which we're allowed to do with any project we deem necessary. So I think that should be spelled out. I think there's some other things that spelled out. I think what we're finding, and when we're talking is, as I work through some of this TDI information, is that a number of IDAs are looking at this and say what the IDAs are doing is having more economic development. The old days of expecting 100 jobs with manufacturing and 25 jobs, this are really a thing of the past. We're looking at small, nimble companies. We're looking at projects that need help to get assistance to get going. And we still have to value those according to our process. But I guess my question is, how deep do we have to go in terms of our deviation policy, in terms of number of jobs? Do we really have to go through the entire process of amending the UTAP and sending out to everyone if there's just minor changes for language?
If you're doing minor changes, then, you can just make those changes and circulate it as you wish. If you're going to overhaul the entire agreement, then I would send it out to everyone. There's always been this question about whether or not all the taxing jurisdictions need to approve it. The law does not require that. So the question has always come up, do you have the authority to amend it without their approval under the law? Yes. Would you go back and get all the taxing jurisdictions sign off and allow for opt-out, et cetera? That's a question that has been posed to the board at various times in the past when this has come up.
So if one thing that's come up is our ability to deviate from policy. Now, in terms of a lot of deviation from policy, we may not in fact be changing the structure of our abatement policy, but we may be changing something like number of jobs, different things like that. Is that part of the UTAP or is that a separate from? I
would keep that all in the UTAP. Anything dealing with the approvals, the criteria used for your tax exempt for whatever type of projects are going to apply to the IDA, I would keep that all in the same policy.
Okay. So I'd like to get some people to work on it. Just sit down and talk about it, work it through. I'm gonna make my first rough draft through it. See what really needs to be changed or maybe just clarified. I think that people don't read far enough into it and understand what it is. Maybe it's just clarification or definitions or something, but let's look at it and see. I did talk to one IDA this week. He said, I looked at doing my UTAP, redoing my UTAP, and he says, I looked at it and said, every project you do has deviations, so
Right.
why bother doing it if we're doing the deviations and going through process? But I think clarifications and more work may need to be done. I just want to work on that.
Do we have samples of other UTAPs?
Yeah, we can get them.
That'd be great.
They're all
Yeah,
posted,
they're
they're all
all
posted on
posted
websites.
on websites.
Well, that's-
Some are more detailed than other, you know.
So that's my thought process. Maybe you don't need a complete overhaul, maybe you just need definitions or clarifications. And I know the 45B has caused some confusion, at least one project.
What project was that?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for new business? Okay. Now I'd like to enter an executive session to discuss ongoing negotiations and contract negotiations and potential litigation.
I move that we go into executive session for the purposes of contract negotiations.
And do I have a second? Brian Campbell? Mike Wild, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Al?